Hello aspirants, welcome to the discussion today on the budget 2025 and 2026. We had presented yesterday on the economic survey for the financial year which is 2024 and 25. We discussed there also that 2025 and 26 is a forecast year for the financial year, and 2024 and 2025 is the is the assessment year. This is tabulated or addressed in the economic survey, and the forecast for the next financial cycle is attributed to the budget. So once the economic survey is released and it is tabled in the parliament one day before the budget presentation, all those inputs are taken and the forecast is accordingly made based on the economic survey. And just to give some basic understanding of what is budget, the budget as a keyword is not at all mentioned in the Constitution of India, although there is Article 112 where there is a mention of annual financial statement as such, but there is no specific mention of budget per se within the constitutional framework of India. And some basic features is that the Ministry of Finance, it has Department of Economic Affairs. There is an chief economic advisor who takes care of furnishing these booklets, these documents for the financial planning of the nation. So quickly moving forward, going through all the pointers and highlights where the budget has been pointing and emphasizing. There are four basic pillars where this year's budget focuses on. One is agriculture, the second is MSME, the third is investments, and the fourth is exports. So we can call it the four limbs of present year's budget presentation. And we will go topic by topic, understand various efforts the government is trying to undertake within the budget forecast. And they have termed this AMIE, the agriculture, MSME, investment and export, as the driving engines of development. And the fuel that can usher the change is the reforms that has to be taken into account in these particular limbs. And the guiding spirit will be inclusiveness, that seeing that no one is left behind in the story of growth and development. As the Prime Minister says, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, right? The same thing. The philosophy is that every section in the economic pyramid has to be taken into consideration in the growth story of India, because India aims to achieve developed nation by 2047. That we call it as Vikasit Bharat, right? Vikasit Bharat by 2047. So that is the vision, and that is the lane in which India is trying to put itself and progress to achieve that goal. And there are and the destination is Vikasit Bharat. Yes, it is clearly outlined. So there are some philosophical thoughts also, that the country is not just its soil, it is the country. If there is a country, it is the people who make a country, not just the soil. Just like there is a saying, a temple is not made up of bricks and stones. It is made up of the people who are the followers. Similarly, a country is not made by soil, but the quality of people determine the quality of a nation and its existence. So similarly, also there is aspiration of the Vikasit Bharat, that there is a need to accelerate growth, secure inclusive development, enhance spending power of India's rising middle class, because middle class is the driving force of any economy, of any society in the world. Therefore, focus on middle class and securing a decent living, ease of living, is aspiration of any civilization per se. So invigorate private sector investments, especially the FDIs, the FPIs, are the current requirements for development of any nation, because we live in an interconnected world. It's a global village, as we say. So attracting right investment, private sector investment, can usher significant economic change, thus um, resulting in economic activities, skill development, mm, a rise in the social class, and all those repercussions can occur accordingly. And uplifting the household sentiments, that the basic necessities, roti, kapda, and makan, food, clothing, and shelter, have to be taken care. That is the basic, minimum basic need that any citizen of a country aspires, and it is a duty of the nation, the people in government and governance should take care of the basic minimum need. That is all. Getting into the next topic, this year's budget focuses mainly on four category of uh, stakeholders, mostly the garib, then the youth, yuvak, annadata, who is the farmer, and nari, women. They are all considered as weaker and are significant stakeholders in the growth story uh, of Indian economy, and spurring agricultural growth and building rural prosperity. Focusing on the first limb of agriculture, there are many existing schemes that need a rehaul or catalyzing them and making them more efficient, clubbing, merging them, and furthering their impact, the social impact they are catering. That is the need. So the Prime Minister Dhanya Krishi Yojana has been introduced, developing agri district program. Right, there are 100 districts that are being identified, which is going to affect positively 1.7 crore farmers. So this is a new introduction because there are various schemes that the government comes out every year. Most of them will be existing and running for certain years, but there is going to be some rehaul. So this year we can see that there is PM Dhan Dhan Krishi Yojana has come, enhanced credit through KCC, right? So credit facilities for marginalized sections of farmers who are vulnerable, relying on informal sources of credit, need that credit, as a support system to function and contribute to the economy and the growth of the GDP of the nation with respect to agriculture. National mission on high yielding seeds. We have the high yielding varieties of seed, we call it hybrid seeds, but there is requirement of targeted development and propagation of seeds with high yield, which are having like pest resistance, climate resistance, as there is a greater degree of increasing climate issues that are leading to uneven floods, rains, uh, droughts. So extreme weather events are directly impacting the agricultural produce and thus affecting the lives of poor farmers. Therefore, there is a need for high yielding seeds which are climate resistant and pest resistant. And Makhana board in Bihar. I think this is one of the famous produce from Bihar, and there is a focus this year laid on that. Mission for cotton productivity, especially in the Deccan region of India where black soil is there. So there is a need to have a mission to facilitate the improvement in productivity and sustainability of cotton farming. Because of uneven rain and unprecedented rains, there is effect on the cotton productivity year on year. Therefore, there is a focused efforts being put in that direction. There are two kinds of things, the pulses and the cereals that we call. India has been a net importer, although India is the greatest producer and greatest consumer of the pulses, yet we end up becoming net consumers. Therefore, there is a need to become Atmanirbhar in pulses production. Tur, chana and all this, masoor, urad, all this produce. Therefore, there is a need to put more productivity and enhancing protein content, work on improving the poor harvest storage and managing, and remunerative prices being affirmed to the farmers, and they can be, most of them are already covered under minimum support price MSP, but there is further emphasis on this. And for India's post, India post as a catalyst for rural economy. India, if it has to grow, it has to the center of the core of its growth story will be the core in the rural economy. In this aspect only, we had the 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. The 73rd especially caters to the rural, aspect of it, and therefore institutional account services like direct benefit transfers, credit services to the needy and micro enterprises, MSMEs, and assisted digital services. So all this is a focus of this year's budget. Next is the development measures focusing on supporting MSMEs and supporting the various economic activities, because MSME play a significant role in running the Indian economy. It employs the maximum number of people and accounts to around 30 to 40% of India's GDP. Therefore, it actually acts as an engine of Indian economy. Therefore, further making India and furthering the vision of Make in India, and thus easing various bottlenecks surrounding the micro enterprises had to be addressed. Credit cards, scheme for and support for the entrepreneurs, focusing on especially scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, entrepreneurs, women. All that has been put in forth, and also ease of doing business, we call, right? Ease of doing business. There are two terms: ease of doing business and ease of living, right? Two things. So ease of doing business pertains to the entrepreneurship and business enterprises. Ease of living is with respect to basic minimum need of common man, right? Also availability of technology, quality products, and technological assistance given to these enterprises, because they employ many and thus adding value to the economic engine. And also measures for labor intensive sectors, like there is a focus on small scale enterprises like footwear, leather industry, toy sector where China is dominant, support for food processing, post agricultural produce needs to tackle on this, because this contributes to the significant loss in productivity. Although produce is there, but because of lack of storage facilities and processing, the remuneration that is to be obtained from agricultural sector remains unharnessed. Therefore, skilling and entrepreneurship and employment generation with respect to food processing, although there are schemes like mega food park and others and processing facilities, but yet it has to take shape. That is there. Yet again this year the MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, right, they are called. So the definition of them has been changed to ease and incentivize these sectors and give a push and a moral support to further their efforts, as the resources, credit facilities are limited in this area of enterprise. Thus they need that slack or liberal way of performance within the economic system. Therefore, as far as the turnover is concerned, earlier it was 5 crores, then it was considered as micro enterprises. Now it is been revised to 10 crore. If something is at 50 crore turnover company, it was earlier called a small enterprise. Now 100 crore company is called as a small enterprise, and median enterprise company has been changed to 250 crore to 500 crore. So this is a significant breath of fresh air for this MSME. Yeah. Next is the third limb is the investing in people, economy and innovation. Three parts: people, economy and innovation, right? There is Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan with respect to health when it comes to people, right? Also expansion of IITs. There were existing IITs now, like for example IIT Dharwad, IIT Hyderabad, right? So there are expansions going on everywhere. Then daycare centers, creche, and in all district hospitals as far as health is concerned. Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak Scheme for Education, National Center for Excellence for Skilling, because skilling, upskilling, reskilling based on current economic industrial demand is the center stage thing. Although there is National Skill Development Council which exists, but yet there seems to be a widening gap between academia and the industrial application. Thus, unemployment seems to be elephant in the room. There are Atal Tinkering Labs under the Atal Innovation Mission that are running. The aim is to have an incubation center where there is a concentrated efforts of skill development that goes on. So, and that has to start in a very early stage of school education, right? In the government schools, hackathons, coding to be taught in the early education, yeah, and all this. And Center for Excellence for Artificial Intelligence. Since AI has become, AI and machine learning have become the buzzword of the current generation, current state of the technological evolution. There is a need of having skilled personnel, skilled laborers in this particular area of technology. There is a need to have separate departmental establishments within the engineering and technical education. Broadband connectivity, expansion of medical education, because the population to doctors ratio is still not as is required, in a country having 140 crore population, right? And also PM Swanidhi, it is to give UPI linked credits and capacity building supports, right? Also the welfare of online platform workers, e-shram portals and others, right? This is being talked. And also investing in people, economy and innovation within the same aspect. There is support to states for infrastructure development, Jal Jeevan Mission, water to every single household, power sector reforms, especially the DESCOMs, the energy distribution companies struggling to supply electricity generated, because the major losses have happened in distribution itself. Therefore, there is augmentation required in intrastate transmission, and thus support to the states has to be given in that direction for the for the needed electrical consumption for that state. Asset monetization plan, especially disinvestment, privatization thing that is going on, the stuck public sector assets. Urban challenge fund, right? There is a need for having water and sanitation facilities enhanced in the urban cities. Maritime development fund, nuclear energy mission. See, this year the government has put a special focus on nuclear energy, because there is a global departure from oil and gas towards the reliable clean energy, or renewable energy, or non fossil fuel based energy. And nuclear energy, because in the EU, in the UK and European Union, there has been a special focus on the nuclear energy. It has taken a different boom. Recently Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited France, and there he visited ITER, International Thermo Nuclear Fusion Reactor facility there. And the UK and the EU is in the forefront of harnessing the nuclear energy, copying the nuclear fusion in the sun, right? Although existing nuclear energy is there in fission reactions, the uranium based, thorium based, chain reaction based energy harnessing facility, that India also has various power plants. Yet the work towards nuclear fusion and harnessing the sun's energy, creating a prototype of the same. And there is a proposition to work toward SMRs, small modular reactors, which are capable of producing around 300 megawatt of electricity generation with very less emissions, carbon dioxide emissions. So that is the focus of this year's nuclear energy mission for Viksit Bharat, relying on clean energy sources or renewable sources like solar and wind energy, hydel energy, etc. Udan scheme for the aviation sector's inclusivity. Yeah, and there is certain focus on Bihar because Makhana is one, and there is a lot of efforts put in Bihar because Bihar seems to be lacking in terms of we call it as Bimaru states, right? Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, UP, yeah, those areas who are behind in the race of economic development. So all that. There is a special focus on tourism and its growth. There are various opportunities in ecotourism, enhancing the Buddhist circuits, connecting various existing spiritual tourism destinations, and enhancing and attracting various visitors nationally and internationally. Getting into investing in people and economy and innovation, and people's part and innovation part is PM Research Fellowship for deserving candidates in IITs and ISCs, Gene Bank for crops and germplasm. That there is a need to create a gene bank. Yeah. Also, Gyan Bharatam mission, where documenting, conserving various heritage-based manuscripts, digital repository of Indian knowledge system. Nowadays, there is a buzzword called IKS, Indian Knowledge Systems. We also have like Ayurveda, Ayush Mantralaya, right? Ayush Ministry, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, like that. So there is an effort put by this current government towards standardizing those Indian heritage-based knowledge systems. Research, R&D, and innovation allocation. 2 to 3% of India's GDP needs to be given towards R&D. So also National Geospatial Mission, GIS-based, right? GIS-based data collection, developing geospatial infrastructure, and thus helping in PM Gati Shakti existing to usher infrastructure development with a rapid pace, and various other infrastructural development and capital development. Yeah. Promoting exports. When it comes to promoting export, Bharat Trade Net is a digital public infrastructure that is being made. Also, national framework on GCC, global capability centers, are being made in the emerging tier 2 cities, because the focus has shifted from tier 1 to tier 2 cities now. And warehouse facilities for air cargo. This is there. Financial sector reforms that are underway are Grameen credit scores. Then there is revamping the Know Your Customer registry, rationalization requirements of speedy approval of company mergers. All those, a lot of bottlenecks and ease of doing has to be made, a center of the corporate governance and smooth operation. FDI limit has been raised from 74% to 100% now. So because insurance is, as they say, the government has no business in business, therefore insurance has to be made as 100% private. This effort has been taken up. Tax reforms, new income tax bill has come, and the various tax slabs we will discuss later has been changed, right? Up to 12 lakhs there is a taxation relaxation that is being given. Regulatory reforms that are being put to unleash productivity and employment, that is taken care, right? So various such efforts are being put by the government of India. Indirect tax proposals, rationalization of customs and tariff structures of industrial goods, all those has been taken care. Sector specific proposals, like within the Make in India, we have LED or LCD based TVs, looms, textiles, capital goods for lithium ion battery. All those need exemptions to open sell, right? So such effort is being taken care. Export promotions, duty free inputs for handicraft and leather based sectors, that effort is being taken care. So such efforts are being put. As far as direct tax proposal, just we discussed, this is the tax slab, revised tax slab, 12 to 16 lakh, up to 12 lakh, you see there is a 10%. So although they will not be having any taxation, such kind of a discussion were going on, but even if there are no answers around it, but yet there is some breath of fresh air that is given. Earlier more than 15 plus lakhs would come into 30% tax slab. Now currently it is under it comes under 20% tax slab. So that is a kind of relaxation that is being provided, with which more much disposable income rests with the citizens, and thus it's a great relief at this moment, and various economic activities, consumption can occur in the economy. This was a much needed reform that the current dispensation has taken up. Yeah, so like that, so various such topics are being covered within this budget of this year. Now last but not the least, this is the most important part of the budget, where the rupee comes from, what is the revenue, and what is the expenditure, where it goes, right? Revenue and expenditure, that we call budget. So maximum amount of rupee that comes to us is borrowed money, that is borrowing is 24%, which is a liability, right? And next maximum rupee that comes is from income tax, right, which is 22%. This is income tax is from the employees who are workers, laborers. And the corporation tax, it gives 17%, yet the GST which exists, it takes the second place. So first place is taken by borrowing, second is by income tax, third is by GST, fourth is by corporation tax, corporates, yeah, companies. Rest others is like excise, right, then customs, like that it goes. There is non-tax receipt also, but mostly it is like excise and customs. This is where the rupee comes. So maximum amount of so the order, when can remember, it will be helpful even in prelims. Sometimes the order is being asked, such kind of questions across this can come, where the rupee comes from. Now where does the rupee go? The maximum goes in interest payments, like 20%. You see how much the highest is borrowed and the highest is repaid in the name of interest payments, right? 20%. But apparently this was so, but this year actually the state share in the name of 15th finance commission had given 40%, right? 40, I think 41%. 16th finance commission had given 42% of disbursement of finance to the states. This year state share of taxes has taken the highest place, which is 22%, and interest payment has taken the second place. But earlier budgets and all, if you see last year's etc., you can see interest payments takes the maximum share. So this year's state share has taken the maximum share. Second is interest payments, third is the central sector schemes, right? Like within the schemes we have central sector schemes, centrally sponsored schemes, and state owned schemes, right? Center sector schemes means 100% the funding is by center. Centrally sponsored means we have 70-30 sharing, 60-40 sharing, 50-50 sharing between center and states. State owned means 100% state owns the schemes. So third grade is owned by the central sector schemes only, and this excludes the defense sector and subsidy. Okay, that is to be kept in mind. First is from share of taxes to the states, second is interest payments, third is central sector schemes, and rest all others, like there is centrally sponsored scheme is there, finance commission, other transfers are there, defense is there. So defense consumes 8% of our expenditure, which is significant. So like that, this we can keep the order, one can keep in mind, it will be useful. As far as revenue receipts and revenue capital receipts, all that is on a rise. Capital receipts seems to be lowering down, yeah, Revenue receipts means like year on year, within the year, earnings of the government. Yeah, capital receipts from disinvestment and others. Yeah. Expenditure, effective capital expenditure has been on rise. Revenue expenditure also has been on rise. Yeah. And there is various, like we have the primary deficit, revenue deficit, fiscal deficit. The fiscal deficit seems to be at 4.4% in the current year, although the FRBM Act, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2000, I think 2 or 7, I think. Yeah, it mandates to have the fiscal deficit within 3%, but yet we see little higher of GDP, 3% of GDP. We see it around 4.4%. Revenue deficit and other parameters are as stated here, right? This is it. And if you see and list the major expenditures items, defense takes the maximum spot, as we discussed, 8%, right? In the donut chart we discussed, right?